Spendthrift Farm Stallions. First 2-year-olds on the track by Golden Sense, Cross Traffic, It's My Lucky Day, Can the Man, and Shaking It Up, including Golden Sense's stakes winner Pickett, a dominant 9-length winner in the $75,000 DS Shine Young Futurity at Evangeline. Spendthrift, the Breeder's Farm.
Hi everybody and welcome to Spa Babies, presented by Spendthrift Farm. I'm Dan Illman along with Nicole Russo. Let's kick off Friday's Pick 6 with a Spa Baby race. It's race number 5 and we'll take a look at the field. It's a maiden special weight, 5.5 furlongs on the turf for 2-year-old fillies. Our sponsor Spendthrift, represented by the number 8 Devious Charm. She is by their stalwart stallion Into Mischief. You could learn more about Into Mischief. Nicole really spotlighted Into Mischief in this week's DRF Breeding Report, available on video.drf.com or the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Nicole, in this race, there are some pedigrees that pedigree aficionados are going to swoon at.
Yeah, we're going to start right toward the inside here with a couple of these where I really think there's some of the better turf pages, better turf families going right now, that I absolutely love seeing here. A little bit of a caveat, though. Some of these families, I think, will be better going longer. So keep that in mind as you're handicapping this turf sprint on Friday's card.
Let's begin with the rail horse, the number 1 Dance for Daddy. This is just a classic Samson Farm pedigree, the unraced dam, kin to Grade 1 stakes winner Dance Through the Dawn, Grade 2 stakes winner Dance with Ravens. That means the second dam is champion Dance Smartly, and this one by Scat Daddy.
Yeah, Scat Daddy, of course, so good with his 2-year-olds on a number of surfaces, but definitely on the turf. Classic Samson Farm family, as you mentioned, going back several generations. Dance Smartly close up on the page here, the Canadian Triple Crown winner and a champion both in Canada and here in the United States. This one, though, a Samson Farm homebred with Graham Motion. They're probably kind of playing the long game with this horse here. I love this cross of Scat Daddy over this female family. Probably will show some juvenile ability, but this is one that I will like better when she gets a little bit of ground.
I agree. The dam's thrown a couple of black type earners, both going long, one on synthetic, one on turf, both at 2. It looks like the last 2 workouts at Fair Hill and Company with a motion horse named Sweeping In, who ran 3rd on Wednesday on debut at Delaware Park. Maybe one to watch down the road. Arad Ortiz takes the mount. Mark Cassey very well represented in this race. He has 2 entrants. We'll begin with the number 2 Oceans of Love by the very good turf stallion More Than Ready. And just look at this family. The second dam Grade 1 stakes winner My Typhoon from the family of See the Stars and Galileo. This filly's just been screaming out for turf, hasn't she?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're getting this one to the proper surface for sure. Of course, in all European type turf families, started by the great mare Urban Sea, who won the Arc de Triomphe before producing Galileo and See the Stars, and my Typhoon in there, who you mentioned, a very good miler in her own right. More Than Ready can certainly get you a good 2-year-old and a good 2 turf horse. As we said, they're getting this one on the proper surface. Cassie, very good dirt to turf. But again, this is one that I think is maybe going to want a little bit more ground, maybe going to find her wheelhouse at about a mile. This 5.5 furlongs, perhaps a little short for this one as well.
Chad Brown is represented by the number 3 Fierce Scarlet, another one by Scat Daddy, of course the sire of Triple Crown winner Justify. This second dam is a full sister to Triple Crown winner Affirmed. Fierce Scarlet herself is a half to a stakes winning dirt sprinter named Thank You Philippe, and she sold very well in April after breezing quickly.
Yeah, definitely, and a lot of speed in this family. You mentioned Thank You Philippe. I think Grade 1 winning sprinter Senior Pete close up in the family. And again, the final crop actually of 2-year-olds this year for Scat Daddy.
We'll move on to the number 4, Can I Cool? This one going out for the red hot Joe Sharp barn. Can I Cool is improved going through the auction ring. A $20,000 short yearling went up for $85,000 as a yearling by Shanghai Bobby. Only 3 for 47 with first-time turf runners, but it's certainly too early to write him off as a turf sire. And the dam was a half to a fast horse, a graded stakes winning sprinter named Court Folly.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised that Shanghai Bobby's turf numbers aren't better at this juncture. again, kind of a very small sample size, relatively speaking. But, he's from a very versatile sire line that does produce good 2-year-olds. I've got to know, a very versatile sire line, and he's beginning to emerge internationally. He's had a number of Group 1 winners down in Brazil from his first Southern Hemisphere crop. He had a second crop 2-year-old winning Group Stakes over at Royal Ascot this year. So they're really starting to come out internationally, and I do think we're going to see some good turf numbers for him here as he gets more opportunities.
I mentioned that Sharp is on fire at Saratoga. It looks like that July 3rd Keeneland work might have come in company with a Sharp 2-year-old named Tracksmith, who won the career debut on turf at Ellis Park with a 48 buyer earlier in the summer. Dovey Lovey, the 5s, entered main track only. We don't want to see her. We want a beautiful day at Saratoga on Friday. The 6 is Global Exchange, and there is a lot of turf here. Not only the connections, Jimmy Toner, known for training such excellent turf fillies over the years. Exchange Rate, just a very good turf stallion. The Dam's a half-sister to a graded stakes place turf runner in Sweet Band. And the second dam was a precocious turf sprinter named Sweetheart, who won her career debut at 2.
Yeah, and you mentioned sire Exchange Rate, a very good 2-year-old sire, another really versatile sire. I did go and check the nick for Exchange Rate over Dynaformer mares. There are actually 2 in this field. A really productive cross. 29 starters, 24 of those are winners, and 4 stakes winners, including Grade 1 winner Sunset Glow, who we'll actually talk about in just a second.
And the third dam, Grade 1 stakes winner Gorgeous, one of the top mares way back when. We'll move on to the number 7, 2 Shakes, going out for the very dangerous Wesley Ward barn. You mentioned it's the same Exchange Rate Dynaformer nick as the 6 Global Exchange. 2 Shakes is already proven. A full sister to the Grade 1 stakes winning sprinter Sunset Glow, who I believe won that Grade 1 as a 2-year-old. Also a full sister to Turf Stakes winner Defiantly. No surprise, this one sold for $310,000 as a yearling. And did I mention the Dam won her debut at 2?
A lot of precocity in that family. You mentioned Sunset Glow, Grade 1 winner at 2. She really put together an outstanding and very 2-year-old campaign. She was a maiden winner early on, sprinting on the Belmont turf. Went over to Royal Ascot with Wesley Ward and finished second in the Group 3 Albany Stakes. Came back to win the Sorrento and the Grade 1 Del Mar Debutante before finishing second, going longer in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf. So a terrific juvenile campaign by the full sister 2 Shakes.
And we know Wesley has him ready to roll first time out. It appears that July 20th workout went in company with Mucho Amor, Ward's debut dirt winner at Keeneland, who has entered in Saturday's Adirondack Stakes. The 8 is Devious Charm by the Spendthrift stallion Into Mischief. This one is very experienced for a 2-year-old. She started 3 times already for Marcassi. They wanted to get her on the turf last time out, but the weather wouldn't cooperate. She's a half to Gentleman Chester, a stakes winner on turf and synthetic. This horse sold for $260,000 as a yearling, and considering this pedigree, it is way too early to give up on Devious Charm.
Oh, absolutely. We've talked so much about Into Mischief, one of the nation's leading juvenile sires. Gets most of the headlines for his dirt horses, but he can get you a turf horse. Think about Vijack, who was a graded winner on both surfaces. And yeah, the turf intent was definitely better last time with Devious Charm in the race that came off that you mentioned. And she faced some very nice horses, really, in her first 2 outings. So I definitely think it's too soon to write this one off.
Second dam champion Northernette. She goes out for Marcassi, who has had success with 2-year-olds moving from dirt to turf. As we see from this formulator fact, over the past 5 years, Cassie's clicking at a 22% rate from 49 starters and a $2.87 return on investment. We move on to Wesley Ward's second entrant, the number 9, Foggy Kitten. This one by turf champion Kitten's Joy, a $27,000 buyback in April after breezing a furlong in 10-2, but this pedigree is all turf. I do wonder if this one wants more ground.
Oh, absolutely. This is another one that I think is going to be better going longer in the future. That's very typical of Sire Kitten's Joy, the nation's leading turf sire several years running now. You think about his real nice turf fillies out there like Stephanie's Kitten and others. They all wanted a route of ground. I think this one will follow in that pattern.
The number 10 is Paquette for Todd Pletcher. Javier Castellano from the first crop of Cairo Prince, who's yet to really find his footing with his 2-year-olds. Maybe they'll need a race or two. There's a lot of dirt in this pedigree, but I also think this filly can show some speed.
Yeah, definitely show some speed from that outside. Cairo Prince, it's interesting, was very well received with his first weanlings, even more so with his first yearlings. Didn't do quite as well in the 2-year-old market this year. And when a horse does well with his yearlings, but not necessarily with his 2-year-olds, that tells me that I think people are playing the long game with the horses a little bit. They're not looking to go out and spend $400,000 on a 2-year-old thinking that the horse will, make it up in stakes company that year. They're willing to make a little bit more of a long-term investment. The 2-year-old sales, you're looking for that quick return. So Cairo Prince, as a racehorse, he came on himself later in his 2-year-old year, running well in the Aqueduct program, was a graded winner early his 3-year-old year. So I would expect his horses, who are very impressive physicals, to kind of continue to mature, to develop. He is still finding his footing, but he actually just had a nice 2-year-old winner on Thursday here at Saratoga a couple of hours ago. And I've said before, I do think that the Cairo Princes will run on the turf. He could be a little bit of a hidden turfy sire. If you look at his sire, Pioneer of the Nile, who performed well on turf and synthetic, and Pioneer of the Nile, the sire of some Grade 1 performers on the turf. And it looks like Todd Pletcher worked this horse out of the gate on July the 21st with Guacamole, who is entered in the Adirondack. Guacamole also by Spendthrift Stallion Flat Out. Okay, we are kicking off the Pick 6 on Friday with our Spa Baby race number 5. Nicole, who do you like? As I mentioned, I think this is a terrific race if you're a student of pedigree. I do think that Dance for Daddy and Oceans of Love have two of the most exciting turf pedigrees we've seen at this meet, both from trainers who know how to develop an outstanding turf filly. I'm excited about both of them long term, but again, both of them I think I'm going to like a little better going longer. So in terms of your wagers on a Friday, again, watch the board. I think there's a lot of value here. I think you'll get a lot of value with Devious Charm. And I did like 2 Shakes when she was originally entered, but scratched recently, so I'll definitely look at her here. I think Chad's going to have the 3 Fierce Scarlet ready to go. Daughter of Scat Daddy. Seems like there's a little bit of speed in this family. You mentioned the distance capabilities and the pedigrees of some of the other horses. I think Fierce Scarlet might do well at this shorter 5.5 furlong distance. You mentioned 2 Shakes and all of her attributes. I definitely have to use her in any kind of multiple race wagers as well. I'm going 3, 7, 4, and 1 in Friday's Spa Baby race presented by Spendthrift.